Okay, so as usual, I've set out all my things. I've got my recipe here. I've read it twice from beginning to end. I've made sure that I've got all my ingredients: flour, sugar, here's some extra flour, vanilla, baking soda, some margarine. I've got my scale, which is this little thing. And I have got my mixer. There's my salt, and we need 3 bananas. So just wait, I want to show you what I got. I got these. It's actually 3 in 1. The shop couldn't sell them because they're so huge, and it's 3 bananas connected like triplets. So they gave it to me for 1 shekel. Anyway, and I've kept them for a while, so they've gone a little bit, soft and sweet, just exactly like we need a banana. For banana bread, old bananas are always better than green bananas because the flavor in here is much more sweet and tastes more of banana. So anyway, so let's get started with our triplets banana. Okay, so according to the recipe, we start off with 180 grams of butter. In my case, I've got margarine because I've run out of butter, and 3/4 of a cup of sugar. There it is. And we blend these two together, and today I'm going to use my hand mixer. Okay, as you can see, it's quite nicely mixed. Now we need to add a 1/4 cup of milk, which is there, and we need to first mix 2 eggs into the milk. Although, to be honest, I've done it where I've just put everything in one bowl and it worked quite fine. I just want you to break your eggs into a separate cup, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, for this recipe we need 2 extra large eggs and our 1/4 cup of milk. So as you can see, I have broken my egg into a cup, and I can actually see that the egg is not rotten. It smells fine. It doesn't have any blood in it. It doesn't, it's not dirty or going to ruin my cake, because there's nothing worse than when you throw 3 eggs into the cake and the last one is rotten and you have to just ruin everything. Okay, so hold on. I'm going to add this to my batter now. Okay, so I've added the milk and the first egg, which is there, and this is my second egg, and I'm going to add that one now, and then we're going to start mixing. Okay, so just mix quite thoroughly for about a minute or so. Okay, so after about 2 minutes, you get something that looks a bit like this, which is just basically butter, sugar, eggs and milk mixed, and now we're going to add our flour and our bananas. Okay, so I'm going to peel these bananas and then mash them in this bowl with a fork, and once I've got nice mushed bananas, I'll add it over to that bowl that has the sugar, the butter, the eggs and the milk, and then finally I'll add the flour. Okay, so this is my triplet banana, which you can see I've split now, and I'm going to start mashing it, and it actually came apart quite neatly, and they're definitely 3 in 1. Okay, so I need both my hands to mash it, so I'm going to have to stop recording. But anyway, you understand that we need 3 bananas. We mash them in the bowl, and then we add them to this bowl. Sorry, I've got my shadow here. Then we add them to this bowl with the sugar, the butter, the milk and the eggs, and then finally we add our flour and our salt and our baking powder, and then we're done. Anyway, I'm going to continue with my mashing now. Okay, so these are my bananas all nicely mashed, and let's see if I can actually pour them in here with one hand, and no, I can't. Okay, so I have to I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to stop filming because I need both my hands to do this. It's just totally stuck. Okay, so now we continue. And mix like that until it's thoroughly mixed, about a minute, and then we're gonna add our dry ingredients. As is my usual way of working, I've put all my things out. So we still need to add the baking powder, we still need to add the vanilla essence, we need to add 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and here are my 2 cups of flour. Okay, and as usual, I'm using the flour that has the English writing because it's very hard for me in this country. Okay, so let's continue with it. Okay, so I've just put my sieve there so that I'm going to be able to make sure that I don't have quite as... Look, banana bread is pretty lumpy anyway, alright? So you don't necessarily have to do the step. You don't have to sieve the flour. I just prefer it to get used to sieving the flour so that you can take out any lumps and notice if there's anything wrong. I don't know, like sometimes there might be a bug in it and then the bug gets stuck in the sieve and it doesn't go into the cake. So that's good. Okay, so let's add the second cup. Okay, so those are my 2 empty cups of flour and we're going to do that, and then we're going to add our final 3 things, which is our baking powder, our vanilla essence, and our salt. Okay, so we need 2 teaspoons of baking powder, one for each cup. Then we need 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence and half a teaspoon of salt, and that's it, we're done. Okay, let's get cracking. This is my salt, and I'm going to add half a teaspoon. There it is, and we add it to our mixture. And then we've got the baking powder over here, and we need 2 spoons of that, so hold on. Okay, that's my 2nd spoon already. And then the final thing we need is the vanilla essence. Okay, so here's my vanilla essence. And you know, if you don't have vanilla essence, it's fine. Sometimes you can also add banana essence, but just be careful. Vanilla essence is the best one. And that's it. So now we mix and we place in our baking trays. Okay, and that's our final batter, what it looks like. It's nice and creamy. It's thoroughly mixed. It's a little bit sticky. Now you have the option to make a banana bread and actually put it in a bread tin and bake it. Okay, as you can see, I've gotten my muffin trays ready. We've got these little cupcake holders. Here's a second muffin tray. So I've prepared 12, 18, I might get 24, we never know. Here it is, and I'm going to start dishing it up and putting them into the little things. Also, in the meantime, while I was mixing, I had heated the oven up and the oven is ready. Okay, so if you work very quickly, you'll actually be in time for your oven heating. Otherwise, mix it and then just wait for your oven. Okay, alright, so let's get cracking. Okay, as you can see, I've dished them up. I've filled this one, it's 12, and I filled this one, and I still have some more batter left. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a few more cups, because somehow it's made a lot more than I expected. So here we go. Let's add some more and see how we do. Okie dokie. And in the meantime, I think what I'll do is I'll put this tray in the oven. So here we go. There it goes. Closing the door and starting to bake. Okay, children, so this is my second tray which finished the batter. And I just want to go over the recipe with you. So we have 2 cups of flour. I hope you can read this. 3/4 of a cup of sugar, 180 grams of melted butter or margarine, 2 eggs. Bicarbonate of soda I didn't put in this time, but because that's a browning agent, makes the banana bread very brown, and I like the light color. But if you want to have, you can put in bicarb, but actually leave it off. 1/4 of a cup of milk, 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence, half a teaspoon of salt, 3 large ripe bananas, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Okay, so just skip the bicarbonate of soda, but that's your recipe. Okay, so hopefully in about 10 or 12 minutes we'll get the final video of me eating a muffin. Haha! So it's been 12 minutes and they look about ready, so let's see. Yes, I think so. Hold on. We'll put them here and we'll put in the next batch. That. And let's test them. Where is my little stick? Hold on a minute. Okay, so I have a wooden skewer which I use to test, and none of them come out wet. As you can see, when you pull the stick out, the stick is dry. There's no batter, liquid batter stuck onto it. So this means pretty much that they're all ready. I'm beginning to wonder, yeah, I think that's fine. Okay, children, so what I wanted to say is I'm beginning to wonder if I shouldn't have maybe put in 3 teaspoons of baking powder, because this looks a little bit flat actually. Some of them are slightly better, but the color is very nice, so I didn't need the baking soda. One thing I want to just discuss with you, and again this is like mistakes that you can make. This is my previous batch of muffins which I've just taken out of the freezer now. Now as you can see, these are much higher. If you look at them there, you can see the difference. But the thing with these muffins is, first of all, they've got the baking soda in, so you can see that it's distinctly a much browner muffin. So if you want to get a darker brown color, put in a teaspoon of baking soda. But one thing I do want to say to you is that I used more baking powder with this batch. I think I used 4 teaspoons. I doubled it. And although I got a much higher muffin, the taste wasn't as good. I could actually taste the baking powder in it, and it was salty. So I ended up having to put some icing on it and sweeten it a little bit to get rid of the saltiness of the baking powder. So I think for this particular recipe that maybe 2 full cups of flour is probably 3 teaspoons of baking powder. So let's just make that adjustment right now. Okay, so but for now I think 3 teaspoons would be a good way to control it, like 1.5 teaspoons per cup of flour. Okay, so just put that in your memory banks of things to remember for the future. Okay children, this is my second tray, and as you can see, when I put my stick in and I pull it out, it comes out completely clean. There's no moisture. There's a little crumb, but it's not actually a wet crumb. So I guess they're ready, and this is my other batch which is also ready. So in the end I have 24. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the recipe. So okay darlings, bye.